Banana Pro. It just came out a few weeks ago and it is on fire. I mean, this is a real game changer because it brings with it so many new features that is going to allow you to create just incredible, amazing content for your social media channels, your website, your advertising campaigns, your videos, just about anything that you need, Nano Banana Pro can do. And so today we're going to show you just some of the things that it can do. I mean, there's so many things that it can already do that we would just never have time to cover all of it. But we're also going to show you how you can access it using an NAN custom workflow that connects Nano Banana to a Discord channel. So you can actually use it really, really intuitively and easily, amp up and take your content creation to another level. All right, so the first way what we're going to do is we're just going to go into our Discord studio here. And like I said, we actually have an NAN workflow that we've created that allows us to connect to Nano Banana Pro via fall.ai. All right, there's a lot of different services that you can use, but that's the one that we're using. And what we're going to do is we have a diagram of a Roman villa, an ancient Roman villa. And one of the things that makes Nano Banana Pro so much better than the original is the fact that not only does it have a higher resolution, you can do up to 4K, but it also allows you to render text really, really accurately, right? So if you're doing things like ads or explainers or infographics, Nano Banana Pro can really handle all of the text pretty consistently, right? So we have this diagram of a Roman house, right? An ancient Roman house. And it's really just a drawing. And we have all these labels that we have for each of the individual rooms. And so what we want to do is we actually want to turn this into like a photorealistic image, right? Like a photo, as if we had, taken a picture and we were selling it on the real estate market, all right? So we're going to come into our Discord studio. And we're going to have this prompt based on the drawing of a Roman villa. Please create a photorealistic version and keep the labels for the different rooms of the house. Also, please add a pool with water in the atrium and add palm trees in the open courtyard, just to have a little bit of fun. And Nano Banana Pro comes with two different modes. Okay, it comes with an edit mode, which allows you to add up to 14 images. The previous model was 6 images, a maximum of six images. And then it has, of course, simple text image. All right, so we are going to simply hit enter, and our Discord bot is going to go to work. And you can see that the workflow is already started. And what it should do is return an image that we're looking for, return a photorealistic image. Let's give it some time. Okay, so this is the final render, and if we take a look at it, we can see it looks pretty good, actually. It looks really, really good. I like that pool. You can see the pool has like a reflection inside. That's pretty amazing. And let's take a look at the original, and then let's take a look at the actual final result. It did an incredible job. And now let's take a look. Actually, if you can even notice how it actually did the text really well. So if we blow up on the text, you can see that it did all of the text really well, and it just did a fantastic job. And I absolutely love that pool. All right, and so that's just an example. Okay, so now let's take a look at the same prompt using Nano Banana, the original model. And I believe it's here. And as you can see, it did a pretty good job. It didn't give us the titles, of course, but it did a fairly good job. But the Nano Banana Pro model did a way better job. You can just see the detail, and it really faithfully, like it really stuck to the original image, as you can see. And so this is just one of the things that you can use for Nano Banana Pro. And you can also like take a lot of text, for example, somebody that explains something, or perhaps you can maybe even take manuals and use those to create infographics. And that is a really, really powerful way to use Nano Banana Pro. And so let's talk about some of the other things that it can do. But before we do that, we just launched the Onyx Studios AI Community. In the community, you're going to get access to all of the resources that we've been talking about in our videos. And we're also going to be doing members-only workshops. In fact, we actually have one that's coming up for the upcoming NAN version 2. So be on the lookout for that. And we're also going to be talking about a lot of different topics. We're going to talk about things like vibe coding and creating different agents and creating content using AI. So be sure to check that out in the link below. So now let's go ahead and talk about some of the things that we've created using Nano Banana Pro. And so the first one I did was I really wanted to test Nano Banana Pro's text capabilities, all right? And so the first image we have is of a Bella toaster. And so this Bella toaster has different features on it. And so what I wanted to do was I wanted to really capture what those features were. So in the prompt, we actually have an enhanced prompt. And with this particular workflow, you can specify the aspect ratio in Nano Banana Pro, as well as the resolution. For this resolution, we just have it for 1K, okay? And for this particular prompt, we actually added 6 different features of this particular toaster. And we actually wanted to display that within our image, all right? So we had a few images of, toasters in breakfast scenes, breakfast settings, okay? And so this was the first image that it gave us, right? And so it actually followed our prompt pretty closely. It gave us seven features that were actually mentioned in the original prompt, right? And so then, because it did what we wanted, but we actually wanted something a little bit more, like a breakfast scene, not just a couple of bagels here. We actually asked Nano Banana Pro to add more detail, right? And so this is where the thinking model comes in. And so this was the image that it gave us, right? So it gave us the pitcher of orange juice and the strawberry jam and the fruit and the eggs and bacon. So, a true breakfast scene here. All right. And so then what we wanted to do was we wanted to actually edit this scene, and we said, okay, let's switch out the bacon and eggs, right, for some oatmeal and bananas, right? And it did a great job there. And you can see it gave us, not only did it give us the 7 features, but it also gave us the oatmeal and also the toast as well. That was actually really good. It actually gave us toasted toast, not just like 2 slices of bread. So you can see Nano Banana Pro just really is excellent at adding the details to your images that makes them so much better. All right, so the next one that we looked at was a beauty care product, and this was a product called Cocoa Honey Glow. We actually created this in a previous version with Nano Banana, and so we wanted to see if we could do a few more things with our product here. And so for this particular image, we have for our prompt, create a product ad showcasing our latest skincare moisturizer called Cocoa Honey Glow, using a unique blend of refreshing coconut and honey to make skin look fresh and glowing. Okay, these are the images that we used. So this was the one that we generated before, and these are images that we found that we wanted to use as inspiration. And so this was the image it came up with. So it was pretty close to what we wanted, actually. It used our same model, and it had her holding the product, which is what we actually wanted. And so it did a really great job, actually. It did a very, very good job. And, you can always push things out. You can change things. These are the type of things that Nano Banana Pro can do for you. And then what we did was we actually wanted to switch the model out, all right? And so in our prompt, we asked it to please place the woman in the scene with the product and then change the plant background to a Caribbean beach scene, right? And then we say the name of the product is Cocoa Honey Glow, and then also place a tropical flower in the woman's hair. And then this is the image that it gave us, just a really amazing, beautiful image here. And this is a really great like setup for an advertisement, all right? And from here, what you can do is you can ask Nano Banana Pro to add text in this space here, or you can just do it yourself, just because it gives you more control over the placement. And so let's see if we can find it here. So this is actually what we came up with by adding it ourselves manually, right? And so, like I said, you can do that, or you can do it with Nano Banana Pro. But it's a fantastic model, and it gives you so many different options. And I would actually recommend you do both. You can try it with text, Nano Banana Pro, and you can also just add it yourself, since it gives you more control over the font and the style, and also the layout, which is kind of what we wanted. All right. So let's go ahead and look at the next one. And the next one, for this particular prompt, we had a cereal we like to call Sunrise Crunch. So it has things like almonds in it, and has fruit, and I believe it has some chia seeds in it. So it's like supposed to be like the ultimate healthy breakfast cereal, all right? And so we have here in our prompt illustration should showcase a bowl of Sunrise Crunch in the foreground with fruits such as strawberries, pineapple chunks. Okay. The colors should be bright and warm with a golden glow that evokes the feeling of a sunny morning, right? So, like I said, being very detailed. And then let's see here. We just added more details. And so let's check it out. Now, this is the reference image that we wanted to use. We just wanted to give it a start, right? So we didn't want these exact colors. We just want this sort of layout, this sort of look, general look. And so it took our prompt and it started thinking about it. And you can kind of see the way that it's actually approaching it. So it's like designing the composition, right? It says, I'm now thinking about the elements on the table, starting with a bowl of cereal and fruit, right? Then it says, next I'll work on the cereal box labels, ensuring all details are clear and legible. All right, so now let's go ahead and check out what it actually came up with. And what we did was we actually wanted it to put all of the features on the box itself, not just so it would just be a generic box of cereal, but it would be like you can see that it's like super healthy. And if we actually blow up the image, you can see that the text is just beautiful. I mean, it's everything is spelled correctly, and it did a really, really good job. In fact, we actually like wanted it to include like amaranth and spelt, and so it included those and it spelled them correctly. So it did a great job. All right. So let's take a look at the Nano Banana version, the original version, to see how it did. And you can see the image is similar, actually. The image is really similar. And, this is really coming from, like, I believe this was a text only prompt. I'm not sure. I think this was a text only prompt because it doesn't include the background, right? But if you blow up the text here, if you close in on the text, you can see that some of it is pretty well. It's actually pretty well spelled, but there are some words that are not right. They're not spelled correctly, and then some words just don't. It's sort of like when you look at it up close, it doesn't really make much sense. But again, it does a very, very good job. But Nano Banana Pro has its uses, and you don't always need Nano Banana Pro, right? So if you don't necessarily need it, if you don't need like the enhanced text accuracy, or you don't need like the 4K support, Nano Banana does an incredible job too. But that's just an example of the cereal. And so now let's take a look at the next one. So for this one, I wanted to sort of have a product ad or lifestyle ad for hoodies. All right. So here the prompt is create a vibrant, high energy product shot of a young man and woman both wearing trendy pastel colored hoodies. All right, standing in front of a vibrant wall covered in anime inspired art, incorporating the Japanese characters for Earth and peace. Okay, and I believe we actually we actually generated this first using Nano Banana because I wanted to see exactly what it would do before we actually went into Nano Banana Pro. So this image we generated previously, and then what we wanted to do is we actually wanted to add these Japanese characters to the wall to make it a little bit more interesting. Okay, and so this is what it came up with, and it's kind of funny because we didn't actually ask it to include the banana, but it did it anyway. I'm not sure why. Maybe there's something in the prompt, but maybe something in the training. But it actually added the Japanese characters, but I think it turned one upside down. So that's kind of interesting. But it did a great job. And so then what we wanted to do was we wanted to try it again. And we wanted to see, I think at this time, I wanted to actually see if I could just see what happened if I had another version of it. Okay. And this was the alternative version. And, this one looks great. I like this one. It's kind of cool. But this one has a lot more energy and that playful, fun feeling, right? And I love the colors. And I think it kind of gave me my Japanese characters as well. So, Nano Banana Pro can do so many things. And so you really just want to test it out and see what it can do, for your different projects. So we have a few more. And this one was the sparkling beverage scene here, and so we have a aspect ratio of 16:9. We have a resolution of 1K, and we're having three different cans. We have strawberry lemon, we have pink grapefruit, and mango passion. All right. And so what we did was we actually generated this previously using Nano Banana, and let's see if we can find it. So the original Nano Banana version was this. This is what it gave us. And not too bad. It looks like something that you got from from Envato, basically, one of those generic, beverage cans. And we actually wanted to have like a refreshing like logo here, like in water, It didn't really work out that well. But now let's take a look at what it did with a Nano Banana Pro, okay? And so this was what Nano Banana Pro came up with. Way better, like way more detailed. I like the refreshing, although it's not exactly what I want, but it's much better than the original. And then we wanted to add the text, "Welcome to the island, no added sugars, 0 calories, and sparkling flavor." Right? And so I actually worked on this a little bit more because I wanted to see if I can get it just a little bit closer to what I wanted. And so I found this splash, right? I found this like transparent PNG of a splash, and so I wanted to add the splash to the cans, and so this is what it came up with, right? And I think I put the refreshing. I told you to put the refreshing in the background, but it really wasn't working out the way I wanted it to. So I ended up removing the text in the background, and this is what we got. And so they did a pretty good job actually. And what I would do actually was I would also try like maybe adding it like a 9 by 16, like a vertical, so you could actually try it out with like Instagram and social media things like that. But it did a great job. All right, so the next one was a flat lay layout of a product called Cake Crush, right? So we wanted sort of like these wrapped cake, like different types of like assorted like fruit cakes, like you have your blueberry, you have your apple, you have your banana peach, things like that. And so the prompt was create a flat lay product photography arrangement of Cake Crush branded snack cake packages displayed in a slightly rotated grid pattern against a deep purple background. And we wanted each package shows the Cake Crush logo in playful typography with all of the different flavors. All right. And so it went to work, started thinking about it. And so this was the image that it came up with. And it did a pretty good job. It's a little bit too uniform for me, but I love the colors. I like the fact that all the text is correct. And generally speaking, the text does match except for the blueberry cake. That's not quite blueberry. That's more chocolate. But it did a pretty good job, and we actually generated this using Nano Banana as well. So let's see if we can find it. And this is what Nano Banana, the original model, did for us, and it actually did a much better job. Actually, you have like this rectangular layout, which is interesting, right? Maybe we could like rotate it, but it actually did a much better job with the packaging. And so sometimes Nana Banana can really surprise you. It doesn't just because it's the little brother doesn't mean it can't be impressive, right? So the next one was a product called the NOCO Battery Boost, and this is a real product that you can use to charge your car, to charge your iPhone, that kind of thing. That comes with a flashlight. Like it's a great product. And so what I wanted to do was I wanted to create like a product shot of like an outdoor kit that you can use when you're going off-roading or camping or something like that. And so for this prompt, we asked Nano Banana Pro to give us a product photography of a survival kit showcasing a selection of essential items, right? So for this, we have the NOCO battery boost. We have like a Leatherman, like a multi-tool. We have a compass, and then we have a map. Okay, and so I wanted it to be sort of in a similar layout here, as you see, and we also had a phone as well. And so I'm going to show you what Nano Banana Pro did. Okay, so this is what Nano Banana gave us, right? So it gave us the map, gave us the phone, it gave us the compass, it gave us the multi-tool, and it gave us the battery boost. A pretty good job, right? It did a fairly good job. Okay, so now let's take a look at what Nano Banana Pro gave us, right? So after going through, this is the final image. It looks beautiful. Great textures, and it gave us the text for each, for what each item did, which is great. A really good map. It also gave us lights on the NOCO battery boosts, and it also gave us a real compass. Okay, again, an actual compass that you would use if you're out in the outdoors. Then, of course, again, if you wanted to, you can add whatever text you want to on top of it. All right. So the last one that we did was for this outdoor sort of winter outdoor jacket, sports coat. And this was the image that we took. And so this was the final result. We kind of wanted sort of a magazine style image of like a man on a snowboard, and then you have the adventure logo here. And we actually use this with Nano Banana, right? So we actually generate this using Nano Banana, and it gave us exactly what we wanted. So you should try both models. Nano Banana is about, I believe it's like 4 cents, and then Nano Banana Pro is like 15 or 16 cents. So if you're doing a lot of images, you want to actually go back and forth between both models, because both models are equally strong, and they can really do some great work for you. So now let's go ahead and let's take a look at the end-to-end workflow that made this all possible. And like I said, if you want to check this out, it's going to be available in the resources section of the members area. All right. So let's go ahead and check out the layout for our workflow here. And this is a pretty straightforward layout because we're only using one model. And so one of the things that makes this workflow really, really cool is the fact that it uses a callback feature. So previously, in like most workflows with end-to-end and making API requests to models, what usually you have to do is you actually have to wait for the response to be generated. So typically, you would send the API request, and then the model would go to work working on the image, and then you would have to do a GET request to see if the image is available. And if it's not, you have to wait, right? And sometimes that just doesn't really, it's not a very smooth workflow. And so what callbacks do is you basically give a model a webhook so that when it's ready, it actually posts the image URL to your webhook, and that makes things so much easier. And so instead of actually having to sit and wait to see if it's ready, it just contacts you as soon as it's done. And so at the beginning here, we have a Discord trigger. So whenever you actually send certain text with like a trigger word, in this case, it's either nano or edit, that triggers the Discord trigger here. And then what happens is it actually sets the image URLs. So with Discord, you can drag and drop images onto onto your space. And so it actually, this node grabs those image URLs, and then it generates a prompt JSON that then goes to the model. And here we have the node that extracts the aspect ratio and the image resolution. You can actually add more to this if you want. And then both of those get merged, and then they go straight to the API request for Nano Banana Pro. Like we said, we're using Fall.ai. And then once Fall.ai is ready, it actually sends a post request to our webhook, and then that includes the image URL, and then that gets sent passed back to our Discord bot. So it's a really, really great workflow that you can use to access and interact with Nano Banana Pro. So like I said, Nano Banana Pro, it's out. Check it out. Use it in your own projects. Tell me what you're using it for. It's a really, really powerful model, and it's really going to elevate your content creation and your video production. So with that, I will see you in the next video.